Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. We are in the second week of Black History Month, and I just read something that set me off. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a member of the United States House of Representatives from New York City, and also a flamethrower. She said that the Republicans were reviving the legacy of slavery by ending non-citizen voting rights in Washington, D.C. Now, she is comparing the Republicans, saying that illegal immigrants, non-citizens, she's calling them, but these are people who came into this country illegally, have been voting apparently in Washington, D.C., and so the GOP is saying, no, you can't vote. She's calling that a legacy of slavery. Now, I just want somebody who knows to tell me, who were the slaves that were voting? The enslaved people in the United States were not voting, and they did not start voting until the 15th Amendment was passed, which gave the freedmen, the formerly enslaved people who had been freed by the 13th Amendment, the right to vote. Now, these illegal immigrants are coming in here, riding in on everything on things that were passed to benefit the formerly enslaved people who had worked in this country for free for at least 246 years. The 15th Amendment was passed on behalf of the formerly enslaved men. That amendment was ratified on February 3rd, 1870. Women could not vote in 1870, neither white women nor black women. So it was passed so black men could vote. They were citizens at that time. They were not here illegally. They were not non-citizens. They were citizens. Her saying that the GOP was reviving a legacy of slavery by not allowing folks to vote who didn't have any business voting in the first place is insulting to me. Those people didn't have any business voting in the first place. Our ancestors had to earn the right to vote. It's an insult to black Americans whose ancestors came through that system. They had earned their right to vote. These people came up here illegally after the government is continually telling them to stop coming. They even had the audacity to say when Trump was in office that if he built a wall that was 25 feet, they were going to build a ladder that was 27 feet. That's arrogance. She's an advocate for illegal immigrants, but what she's trying to do is to conflate two issues that have nothing to do with each other. The enslaved people were not non-citizens. They were not here illegally. These two issues are not the same, but she's trying to do that to give legitimacy to her argument, and it is an illegitimate argument about people who are in this country illegally. There's a difference between somebody being enslaved for 246 years and then being given the right to vote and citizenship, and somebody coming up here illegally demanding citizenship and the right to vote. And there is something else that irks me. Every time that something happens in this country that somebody, these half-profile type people don't like, they compare it to slavery. Every time you have these self-serving celebrities like Kanye West getting into some kind of interview, they don't have anything to say, they don't have any kind of conversation, they're not intelligent enough to talk about the issues of the day, then they start bringing up slavery. I do not understand what it is about slavery. Slavery was a tragic moment in time for black American people in this country. And what is really egregious is seeing these black people whose ancestors came through the slave system just throwing the word around randomly, especially these black people that are tied to white people, married to white people, and these Republicans. They just seem like they just have to throw that slavery word in. It's something about diminishing slavery that I believe they think that makes white people like them and appreciate them more when they diminish slavery, because this is a diminishing of slavery, to take an issue that has nothing to do with slavery and drag slavery into it. And this is it's really an effort for people to to make what they're saying seem more important than what it is. But it's also these black people who do it, who really, I think that white people are going to think that they said something really smart when they diminish slavery. For me, it's very insulting. Now, what I have done is taken it up on myself to call her office and ask her to stop comparing anything to do with illegal immigrants with slavery, because they are not the same. I had a lot to say, but that was the gist of it. Stop comparing the situation of illegal immigrants with slavery or anything to do with enslaved people, because they are not the same. The enslaved people were not here illegally. They were not non-citizens. They were citizens when they were granted the right to vote. So yes, it was wrong to take their voting rights away from them as citizens after they had been granted that right. What was done to black people was really illegal. Not only was it wrong, but it was illegal, because they had been given the right to vote as American citizens. And the voting rights for black people were not really restored until 1965, when the Voting Rights Act was passed. So black people absolutely done wrong, but these people she's talking about have never been citizens. And therefore they never had the right to vote in the first place. And many of us may not see, but some of us do see, that people like this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez woman taking our issues and diminishing our issues to highlight something that she cares about is a mistake. And it's in the end, it's going to do damage to black people, because that is a further diminishing of our situation in America. And if we let it happen, it's on us. But what I said, that if she continues to do that, it's going to be a problem for her. And I hope it will become a problem for her. I hope other black people will challenge people when they start bringing, especially people in government and people in leadership roles, when they start throwing the slavery word around. Because Ben Carson did that too when he called himself in the Trump administration, which they gave him a position that he had no qualifications for. But he didn't see that as an insult. But he saw something that happened to do with the insurance, Obamacare, with being worse than slavery. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. People just throwing the slavery word around because they don't have any other conversation. They don't know enough about the topic and the issues at hand to have an intelligent conversation. So they just drag slavery into it. But that is a diminishing of a tragedy that happened to our people. And it's incumbent upon us to say, no, this is not acceptable. You don't drag slavery into something just because you don't like something that the Republicans did and you don't have anything to fight with, because you don't have any real agency in the United States. And that is what's going on with this. So that she's going to try to take our issue and try to fight our issue with something that she cares about, but she doesn't have any credibility and she doesn't have enough agency to gain anybody's respect. So she is going to throw slavery in. And that's going to get everybody's attention, because that is the center point of American history. But it's a diminishing of the seriousness of what slavery was. So I'm just going to put her telephone number on the screen. So if you would like to call her office and tell her hands off slavery, this has nothing to do with illegal immigration, you can call her and tell her too. And if I have to call back, I will, as many times as I have to. And eventually word will get through. And especially if enough of us call that office, it will get through. I tried to email her, but she's got the email set up that only her constituents can email her. But apparently they have to have some way for the public to get in touch with them. So she has the telephone number. But she is going to have to learn, and it looks like she's going to have to learn the hard way, that she's going to have to gain people's trust and respect. It's 4 or 5 of them that call themselves progressives in Congress that want to upend everything. But they can't do that with 5 people. It takes 218 people to pass a bill in Congress. It doesn't matter how strongly you feel about something, you cannot pass a bill with 5 people. And stepping on the toes of other people's history is not the way to gain respect. And that is what she's willing to do. She's brought up the Japanese concentration camps. She's brought up slavery. She's tried to use reparations. She'll do anything except work with the people of Congress and come up with something comprehensive that makes sense and that people can support. So to me, she's a disaster. I mean, some people call her popular. Some people call her this, that, or the other. But I call her problematic. Because to me, number one, she's a flamethrower. And number two, she's an attention seeker. She wants attention. She wants everybody writing about her in the newspaper and then turn around and claim people are threatening her life. I think that she needs to be on notice that slavery is off limits. That's all I got to say. She needs to be put on notice that slavery is off limits. And she needs to stop trying to bring attention to herself and win arguments by exploiting other people's tragedies. Okay, so let me know what you think about this. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the video. And as always, have a great day.